This is Guys Read Romance, where I, romance author Margot Radcliffe, politely strong arm my male friends into reading and chatting about romance novels with me for an uncomfortably long period of time. All right, today on the podcast, I'm talking to my friend Ryan Sears. He's a musician, an actor, and all-around man of many creative pursuits, including writing a musical based on Jurassic Park. Is that correct?
Yeah, Jurassic Park the musical. But,
right.
For copyright reasons, we had to give it an acronym.
Oh, okay.
JPTM,
okay.
TM, 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 TM.
Naturally.
It's a repeating acronym.
Yeah. In case anyone wants to check it out. We've been friends for a long time, and most notably, whenever we see each other, Ryan really enjoys humping couches for uncomfortably long periods of time, specifically to creep me out. And it definitely works. And I'm pretty creeped out right now.
Should I stop humping this couch right now?
You do what you have to do.
I thought you enjoyed the dead look in my eyes as I make direct eye contact. So no,
it's perfect. It's great.
Okay.
Hump whatever you want. Why limit it to just couches? But anyway, all right. But it is why I thought of him for this podcast. So thank you, Ryan. I guess. Thank you so much for coming, and I'm excited to talk about romance with you.
Yeah.
So tell us about your background, what you read. And then the second question is, why don't you read romance? So go ahead and tell us what you usually read.
My go-tos are like Kurt Vonnegut, Douglas Adams. I've hit up every Wheel of Time from Robert Jordan we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just kind of humorous books are normally what I go for, obviously. But I just kind of look through a book aisle, and if something catches my eye, I'll give it a try. Don't always make it through it.
Yeah, but you're generally like a big reader. You would classify yourself as somebody who reads a lot.
Oh yeah, you should see my. We have a room in the house here with bookshelves, and I had to
like a library.
Yeah, yeah, it's the greatest thing. But what happens is, like, you buy a new book, and then you just sell the other one or donate it or whatever, and so it's all fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good system. I wish I sold anything. I'd just keep it. So you read a lot, mostly humor. Yeah. So why do you think up until this point you have not read? Well, I guess I'm assuming that you haven't read romance. I'm correct in that. You have not read romance until this book.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like one of those things I just never thought that it would be something I'd be into.
Sure.
I don't know why. I don't normally subscribe to like gender role type things or anything like that, but this must have just been one of those things that I haven't realized yet.
Sure. Do you think that you just didn't think it was for you? That's something we're hearing a lot. Romance this is for girls. And so did that at some point cross your mind? And like
a little bit. When I'm reading something, because what I go for, like I said before, is usually very humorous things or like hardcore sci-fi. Mm-hmm. I'm reading a book, I think it's called Semiosis or something like that right now, where they're terraforming a planet, and it goes through this breakdown, like very scientific breakdown of what classifications of plants that they're finding and things like that. And I just never thought that anything in a romance novel would have that kind of stuff that I would be into.
So do you find yourself outside? Have you read any genre fiction outside of like science fiction and fantasy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's not a thing where you thought, oh, this isn't like highbrow enough for me.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay. I believe you. All right.
Sounds like it.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do to kind of, loosen things up is this sex scene game. I'm going to read you two passages that are sexual from books. One is written by a man, basically, and one is written by a woman. Okay. So you're going to guess which one is which. Right? Okay. You ready for this?
I think so.
Okay. We'll see. Okay. Tormented, exhilarated, she pressed him closer. Beneath him, her movements were frantic, shameless. He was undoing her with his tongue and teeth and lips, making her beg with stumbling, breathless words. The flash came so fast, so hot, she reared up, gripping the blanket in defense. All right, so that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, he moves her off his chest and works her inert body around so they lie side by side and he can fuck her from behind. She wakes enough to cry, "Oh," when he penetrates. Slickly admitted, he pumps slowly, pulling the sheet up over them both. And that's the end.
Okay.
Any guesses?
I'm the latter of the two. The second one seems very masculine written to me.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I also didn't like that one nearly as much as the first one.
Sure. Probably she didn't either.
Yeah, right?
All right, so you think the first one was a woman and the second one was a man.
Yeah.
Any reason why, other than you like the first one better?
It seemed like the second one was more just like penetration oriented and like that's about it. No,
Sure.
very little build up, very just, I don't know.
Right.
And thus I conclude that. I don't know. I'm probably way wrong.
No, you are exactly right.
Oh, okay.
The first one was from Born in Shame by Nora Roberts, Queen icon author Nora Roberts. And then the second one was John Updike, Rabbit is Rich. So,
Oh,
yeah, that was the man. So you were right. Yeah, I mean, it's been compiling these has been obviously the first one was more poetic and it describes emotions more and
yeah.
not in all of it, right? It's described, it's very specific, whereas
Yeah.
like the first one just like he's in there and it's gone, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like that seems to be a theme with these passages. So anyway, all right, congratulations, you win that game.
Awesome.
I don't have any prizes,
Oh, that's it. I quit.
just self-satisfaction.
Oh, well, I'm pretty self-satisfied now. That's good.
Yeah, probably. All right. So getting into this book, today we have both read Dead Witch Walking by
Yes.
Kim Harrison. A little bit about this book. This is Kim Harrison is a New York Times bestselling author multiple times. This particular book won the Romantic Times Best Fantasy Book in 2004 when it was published. So it's been a long time. It's an older book. It has also won Best Urban Fantasy Series on Goodreads.
Oh.
Yep. And it was like I said, it was first written in 2004, and it is the first in a series of 16 books. So it's still going on right now. She's still publishing. And
well, that's good news because I did, after I read this one through, start the second one. And I guess, I guess I've already given away my verdict on this.
Oh, I'm glad it wasn't a harrowing read. All right, I'm going to read a quick description and then we'll get right into it.
Okay.
This is the blurb that was on the book. This book is Rachel Morgan lives in a world where a bioengineered virus wiped out most of the world's human population, exposing the existence of supernatural communities that had long lived alongside humanity. Would be great if that had to happen now, right? Mm-hmm. Where are the witches, guys? It's her job as a witch working for Enderland Security to protect the humans from things that go bump in the night. Rachel has been tracking down law-breaking Enderlanders in modern-day Cincinnati, but now she wants to leave and start her own agency. Her only problem, no one quits the IS. Unless she can appease her former employers by exposing the city's most prominent citizen as a drug lord, she might just be a dead witch walking. All right, so before we start these questions, I gave you a list of books. You said you preferred paranormal. So I think most of the books that I gave you on a list were paranormal books. So what about this book made you choose it?
I don't know. Honestly, it just seemed like something that would be kind of cool. I have no further, it was just a hunch.
Sure. All right. So nothing specific. You just the description and the cover.
And I'd never really read anything paranormal like this.
Really?
Anyway. Yeah. I mean, not that wasn't humorous. There's a bunch of books by Ailey Martinez, but they vary wildly from this. So taking reading a paranormal book that took itself seriously, or at least somewhat seriously, I thought, that might be cool.
Okay. All right. So then, number one, what were your first impressions of the cover, the blurb? Tell me some feelings about it once you started, like before you started reading.
Now, before I started reading, I looked at the cover and I was a little concerned. It had that kind of old fashioned Conan like book cover style thing. Although it's not. I mean, it's a woman standing there in front of the castle or something. I don't know what it was. Maybe the church or something. Wait, I got it right here. Yeah. Yep. But usually covers aren't very important. I mean, if it's got a great cover, then that's fine. But I don't know. I don't see them as too much of a barrier. But I forget the question actually.
What were
I'm pumping? I'm over here pumping iron, so I'm not.
The blurb, the book description. Did you have expectations of it? Like, what did you think you were about to read? I guess based on the blurb and the whole thing, and how did you feel?
Oh, okay. Well, from the blurb and whatnot, I thought I was kind of getting into maybe a Charlaine Harris like Sookie Stackhouse type deal. Mm-hmm. I think I liked this much better than any of that.
Did you read those?
I started I forget what the Sookie Stackhouse things, and they were okay. Mm-hmm.
Did you watch?
I did watch True Blood. My problem with that was the main character was very kind of nothing, and she just bounced around and wasn't really in charge of her own destiny, and I didn't like that at all. Which is quite opposite from this book, in which the main character is a very strong woman and she just goes for it. So it's great.
Yeah, some might say to her detriment. That was one of the problems I kind of have with these books, is that I feel like, yes, she very much has her own agency, but I think many of the decisions she makes are really stupid.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, the book would probably be much more boring if she'd made reasonable choices all the time. But
yes, very true. But we'll get into this later. But I have read most of these books. I think I'm like 2 behind or something. Wow. And so like it gets to a point, but they're long, and anyway, we'll talk about it later. Okay, so the second question is, those were your thoughts initially, and then so were you excited or were you like trepidatious to start reading?
Well, I was a little trepidatious because I worried that since I promised to read this, that I wouldn't really want to read it. And then I thought, oh, great. But once I started, it kind of rolled along and I was done before I knew it. Yeah. So that was great.
Well, as I said, you by far were the quickest reader I've asked 10 dudes to read stuff, and by far the quickest reader. I wasn't prepared for how quickly you read it. Anyway, all right. So number 2, were you then satisfied, since you were interested in the paranormal? Were you satisfied or interested by the paranormal element in this book?
Yeah. I think the author created a nice supernatural world, and I love the landscape of most of the humans are dead or hiding somewhere, whatever it is, and of course emerges the vampires or the witches and all that kind of stuff. I did enjoy that. That was nice.
Mm-hmm. Did you? It's set in Cincinnati, which is close to where we are, of course. Did that? I mean, it's just Ohio, right? So did that element make it more realistic to you? Because that could be. It's like anywhere, what I mean? It's not like New York.
Somewhat. I have never actually been to Cincinnati, but I've been to Columbus and Cleveland, and so I just kind of blended the two of those together in my mind. I'm sure Cincinnati is exactly a blend of Columbus and Cleveland.
Kind of Kentucky.
Oh, is it?
A little bit.
Well,
sorry, Cincinnati.
Sorry.
But you're basically Kentucky.
Wow, burn.
Kidding. I know. No, Kentucky's great. It's got bourbon.
Well, actually, that is pretty awesome. Okay, win for you, Kentucky.
Yep. All right. So, okay. Did you find it paranormal? Obviously, isn't realistic, but was it a believable world to you?
Yeah, it was believable. Definitely. The only things that were a little unbelievable were some of her choices, like we were discussing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Despite every good sense that any typical person would have, but that also sometimes makes for a better book.
Sure. And did you feel fully immersed in the world? Do you think that you say you started the Sookie Stackhouse novels, and that's like very
Yeah.
Louisiana, right? Did you have kind of any problems like kind of keying into this new kind of
No,
futuristic
not really.
world?
Like I said, I mean, it was just oozing Cincinnati. I honestly don't know, but it seemed believable enough. It seemed like anything was possible. You weren't like all the action wasn't just pigeonholed to this tiny, tiny place. It seemed a little bit more opened up, even though they don't really go much further than just like a few places. It seemed like anywhere was possible. I don't know if that
Right.
makes sense.
Hmm. No, and actually, that's interesting that you said that because I felt that way about the Sookie Stackhouse novels because, like, so everything was so bizarre. I was like, at some point, I was like, oh, just like anything can happen here, like fairies, pixies, whatever, like minotaurs, or whatever the weird thing was. I mean, that's what it felt like. So that's interesting that you feel this way about this one. I do feel, yeah, just any kind of creature
It's
is
on the docket. Yeah,
available.
whatever happens. I mean,
Hmm.
demons, sure, why not? Let's do that.
Yeah, demons are actually pretty big in this series. All right, so moving on. This book is the first in a series of, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's 16 books, and I don't think she's done, so it's going to be more. And so this particular just first book doesn't follow a traditional romantic arc, as in like that girl doesn't meet boy, and by the end of the book they're together. That's how most romance novels work.
Yeah.
So, however, she does maintain the same love interest through all 16. At least I've only read to 14, but all 14 books it's the same love interest. So was it apparent to, but they don't get together in this first book.
Right.
So like, was it apparent to you who that was in
Yeah,
this
it's
book?
got to be Ivy. For God's sake, I hope it's not that male character. What's his name? The human guy who she's kind of dating.
Nick,
Nick. Yeah.
is Nicholas?
Yeah. God, I hope
Uh-huh.
it's not him. There's something.
You don't like the human librarian?
No, there's something really.
Ah,
I mean, don't get me wrong, librarians are some of the best people,
that's
present
right.
company excluded.
Right.
But
I didn't even see that coming. Thank
one,
you,
two.
Ryan.
No, but I don't know. And I know that there's a lot of danger associated with the Ivy character, but I don't know. There's something kind of cool with that too.
So you think it's Ivy?
I I don't know. Something about it seems like it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, like obviously. I mean, she'd like. There's so much. There is a lot of sexual
Yeah,
tension right between her, Rachel, and Ivy, for
and it
sure.
doesn't seem like she has much of that towards Nick. It's almost seems for. Oh, okay.
It's not Nick, but it's not
Oh,
Ivy either.
oh, is it Jenks? How would
No,
that work?
he's very dedicated. He's very dedicated to his wife.
He's Pixie. You never know.
Well, she can shrink. Rachel can shrink into any size.
Oh, well, there we
Right?
go.
Yeah. No, I was. You want one more
One
guess?
more guess.
Uh-huh. I mean,
Oh,
it's
Christ.
featured heavily in this book.
Featured heavily in this book.
Yeah.
And it's not Jenks, and it's not Nick, and
No.
it's not Ivy.
No.
Is
There's
it
only like one
is
other
it oh, is
character.
it the guy who I suspect is some sort of elf or whatever, what the heck is his name? The guy that's like a
Right.
henchman kind of, what's that? Trent.
Trent.
Yes.
That's interesting that you assume that he is an elf. Why did you think? Why do you think he is an elf?
I mean, it's well, there's a bunch of clues, namely the fact that nobody knows what he is. Jenks couldn't
Right.
smell what type of thing he was. It said
Right.
something about most of the elves have either died off or disappeared or whatever. And obviously,
Uh
you
huh.
know, obviously, if any were to be around, they would probably organize themselves up in like a mafia like structure to kind of keep themselves alive and going. So I
Yeah.
just imagine that's what it is.
So okay, so it wasn't like extraneous elf information that led you to believe that he was an elf. It was stuff like in the book
Yeah. I mean,
that pointed to you to him being an elf to you.
what
Okay. I was like, am I missing some like elf things that just people know about to be true about elves, like
not that I'm
in the
aware
wild?
of.
Specific specific
Well,
lore.
and
And like, because he is an elf. I mean,
yes.
I think I'm pretty sure he's an elf. That's just funny. Okay, good job,
Hey.
Ryan. You're like an expert
Well,
reader because I had no
I'm a
idea when I
detective on the
was reading.
side. I don't know if you know that about me.
Oh my gosh. So yes, it's Trent. So
Wow.
she's with him
Huh.
for 14
Holy
books
crap.
so
Okay.
far.
Well,
Did I just ruin the series for
nah.
you? Well, so so did you not, and that leads me to the next question. So it was not apparent to you. You had no idea.
No.
You didn't even remember him as a
Well, I
character.
remembered him, but I just didn't
So
remember his name.
right. So anyway, so did you think that there was chemistry there? I mean, when she was the mink in his lair?
Not really. No. No, it didn't seem like there was much chemistry at all. In fact, quite. I mean, I guess if you say that the opposite of affection is, mediocre, like no reaction at all, but I don't know if I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
They did not seem to get, well, at least she did not like him at all. Although,
Well, yeah, he put her in a
yeah.
cage and drugged her. So
Now,
it's a pretty.
that being
It's
said,
not
he
great.
could probably have killed her at any moment, but he also did kind of put her in giant rat fights. So it's not like he didn't try to kill her. So, you know, there's,
Very true. There's a case to be made that he knew that she would win because he like respected her skills.
oh,
And so that, because he kept saying to his assistant that he was underestimating her and she was not to be underestimated. So a case could be made for that, but still, yeah, it's not
yeah,
great.
yeah.
It's not great at all.
Not a good start, but hey, I mean, if they've gone this many books, apparently.
Well, and I think it speaks to the book having been written in 2004. I don't think that would fly by today's
Oh yeah,
standards
sure.
of like how men should be treating women,
Yeah,
or just human to
yeah,
human. Probably don't put another human in a
yeah.
rat fight. And just
Let's maybe not do that.
as a
Yeah.
note. Probably not amazing. But all right, so at this point then, are you, knowing that it's Trent, are you interested in the rest of their kind of love story arc?
Well, I mean, if their interplay between the two of them changes significantly, then yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if I'm up for 14 books of him trapping her as as various animals and entering her into fights. I mean, unless that's her kink. I don't want to kink shame.
Well, and she was trying to kill him, really. I mean, like, she was trying to put him
Yeah,
in jail.
that's true.
So, I mean, like, what do you do with somebody who's trying to ruin your life? Kill him, probably.
Yeah, and
Not personal.
since I was correct about him being an elf or something like that, he probably would have to protect his species a lot more.
Right.
So, okay, we'll give him a pass this time.
Right. Still a dick,
Yeah.
but maybe not a murderer.
Just
I
attempted.
mean, they did murder. Well, yeah, when he did murder that guy that worked for him.
Yeah, that was rude.
So anyway, yeah, dude means business. All right. So was the overall conflict believable to you? And the main one being that she's got a hit out on her from her former employer, and she's got to like get out of this situation.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, we're dealing with a post-apocalypse here, so sure, why not? I mean, if that's the main law enforcement kind of thing, I guess they probably have free reign to do just about whatever the hell they want to do. So I could see that, I guess.
It is kind of confusing, and I guess we kind of learn more about this because, like, why does nobody leave? What is the big deal about leaving? I don't really understand it. I mean, like, I believe her when she says you can't leave this the security thing, but like I still don't understand
like why they fight so hard to not let anybody
Yeah.
leave. Yeah, that's a little weird, probably.
But
yeah, but I guess it is what it is. So
you do believe that she's gonna die. I mean, they do repeatedly send people out.
Oh
to kill
yeah,
her, so.
yeah, definitely. Especially how big of a dick her immediate supervisor was. Like that guy sucked.
Again, he's not even a real vampire,
Yeah,
apparently.
lame-o.
Whatever, man. Anyway, so that brings us to the next question. Did you enjoy all the action in the book? Because, I mean, it's mainly all kind of action. I mean, it's always her catching somebody or being caught.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Jenks is my favorite part of everything. He's the absolute greatest. So I enjoyed the action, and anytime Jenks showed up, which was throughout most of it, it was all great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jenks is super fun. And I found it, when I first read it, like I was expecting a traditional romance novel. So like as I was reading, I was like, how long is this going to be? You know what I mean? Like how many times is she going to
Almost,
almost get
yeah,
caught?
yeah,
And like and then how many times is she gonna just purposely put herself in these positions? You know what I mean? So that kind of, and it's the same pattern through all of these 14 books. They run a little long, and it's kind of the same. Like she makes a bad decision, and she should just listen to Ivy, and then she
doesn't,
has to
yeah,
get out of this bad decision,
huh?
right? So in that respect, I could use a little bit less of her running. I get that that has to happen.
Yeah,
But
sure. But some downtime is nice.
yeah,
Explore the space a little bit.
right. After she gets back, specifically after she gets back from the demon
Oh yeah,
fight,
yeah.
I'm like, take a break,
Oh
man.
yeah. Just
Eat some
chill.
more
Yeah,
cottage cheese.
yeah.
I don't know.
Also, maybe, I mean, this is just a suggestion. Also, maybe get better at being a witch. Just throwing it out there. Like, perhaps, do witching better.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because she's not. Spoiler
Uh-oh.
alert. She's, you know, maybe she's not a witch.
Oh,
Just throwing that
huh.
out there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
So is she
But
also an
yes,
elf then?
no, no, she's not. No. It's so funny. Uh,
Wait, she's really a
no.
mink, and then she's been disguised as a human this whole time, or a witch this whole time.
Right. Well,
Nailed
and that
it.
was another thing. Totally nailed it. So funny. But Nick, after that demon fight, it seems like first of all, in 2004 there were cell phones. Why didn't somebody call Ivy like immediately and she's gonna be
Yeah.
there? You know what I mean? Like he didn't need to make that deal with that
No.
demon. That was
Dumb.
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this is also a post-apocalypse, but like you would think that once they got things back up and running, they'd be like, cell phones, yeah, we need them, gotta have them, or
Yeah.
any kind of phone connection. I mean, they were in a library, for God's sake.
Yeah, certainly her and Ivy should have. First thing you leave and you're both being hunted is, hey, let's have a communication, just you and I, that's like if one of us is hurt, you know when to come immediately. You know what I mean? Like that seems like probably the first thing I would do in a new partnership. But hey,
Well,
I'm not a witch, so well,
maybe she's not.
Yeah, right. Anyway, I did all joking aside though. I think I
There are
enjoyed it
definite.
after a while.
Yeah.
It's like okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, did you find this book funny at all?
Funny? Parts were funny. I think a lot of the Jenks stuff can be kind of funny. He's had some good levity here and there. I wouldn't say it's like a Vonnegut novel or anything like that. That level of humorous flippantness, but yeah, I thought certain parts were pretty funny.
Do you? Yeah, I it's written with a light hand, I think. But did you find it at all tongue in cheek?
I'm not sure.
No.
I don't know. It seemed to me like it did take itself a little seriously. Maybe I would have to read it again to check the tone. But yeah, I didn't see it as being too tongue in cheek.
You thought this is like a very serious main character. This is a very serious world. This is dark.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't, maybe it's just because I find all paranormal a little funny. Jenks is a pixie, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, sure.
And he's defending a flower box. It's just like, all right.
I mean, I guess if you think of it that way, yeah. But then again, and I've never read Lord of the Rings, but like for Tolkien, fans,
What?
for J.R.R. Tolkien fans, like
Uh-huh.
they find that like very serious, even though it's, there's little people and dragons and, like.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I mean, it's not like I find little people funny. It's just, it's just at a certain point, like it's just they're living in, I don't know. She's tracking down leprechauns. She's, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of like a kitchen sink approach to a book, isn't it? Like
Yes.
what haven't I gone in here? She's gone all what's the FX show Supernatural with it.
Oh, right. Yeah. So anyway, I think that I don't know, maybe it's not laugh out loud funny, but I do find that it's lighter than a science fiction, or
Oh yeah,
surely,
definitely.
you know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
got you there. Hmm.
So there is kind of a difference. Anyway, all right. So this book has two very important side
Hmm.
characters in Ivy and Jinx. Did you feel that they added to the book, or did it distract too much for you from the main kind of storyline?
Um, I think that the inclusion of Jenks definitely added for me. Like I kept looking forward to more interactions with Jenks because he was my favorite, hands down, of all the things that happened in there. And I
Sure.
did like. I do like Ivy. It's neat how their interactions together can be so seductive, but like also very dangerous. And so that was kind of neat. That was interesting.
Yeah, I had kind of forgotten, to be honest, how sexually charged those interactions with Ivy
Yeah,
were in this first book. And I don't know, I can't remember
if that
honestly
carries on.
how, yeah, if I think that it does, but not, I don't know if it's to the same degree in the other books. But certainly Ivy is an interesting character. I thought that this was an interesting take on vampires, the dead vampires, and
Yeah,
the not dead vampires. That was kind of different. So I thought it was an interesting take on it. And I mean, Ivy is very important throughout the series. And yeah,
yeah.
so it's kind of,
I like how the living vampires have that spark of soul in them, and then they lose it when they become dead. Of course, I agree. That was a cool take.
well, also like now she can be in the daylight, right?
Oh yeah, and
So
that.
she's got all of
Yeah,
the all of the things that like make a vampire tough or like alluring, but also she can just have a job and get things
yeah,
done, right? Like pragmatically, like, oh, she can actually be a character in this story. It's like
yeah,
who's alive and doing things. I thought the orange juice was funny. Like they ate, which is new for vampires, right? She
yeah,
actually ate food.
yeah,
Yeah. Now, have you read any other like I've not read any other books with Pixie, so I don't know about. But I thought the stuff with Jenks was
yeah. I
fun.
haven't read anything with pixies either. I don't know if they're typically like that. They're cool as hell though.
Yeah,
I
for
would.
sure. And he
Oh,
like
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I said I would probably read a little side chain project if she wrote one just starring the whole Pixie family.
Oh, Pixie. That's there might you might check on her website. She has done like graphic novels, and I don't know what they are, but kind of like not about Rachel, but
Side
adjacent
stories.
to
Oh yeah,
what. Yeah, so it might be Jenks in there. I don't know, but yeah, he's fun, and I like that he regenerates so quickly. I love I love a character who regenerates for
oh
some
yeah,
reason. I don't know. It's just cool. I don't
yeah.
know.
And he's always
It's just
underestimated, and like he just kicks ass. So that's great.
and his wife's so nice. There's like a story. I mean, at least for Jenks, you see like it's important to him to be a part of this, and we learn that him being a full partner is a big deal. And nobody ever gives Pixies things, and so that was interesting too.
Yeah,
So, and then we learn about Ivy has a good backstory as well. So, and they're fully formed characters, and I typically don't like secondary characters in romance novels. I think they're only ever there to kind of push the main story along, and they're not very well written. And so Ivy and Jenks were kind of not that. They were
yeah,
really great. They were
yeah,
great. So, okay, last question. This book is written in first person point of view, and we're inside Rachel's head the whole
yeah.
time. How I assume, whether or not you know it or not, you haven't read that many books, especially in science fiction that are from the female perspective. Maybe you have, but how did you find that?
I thought that was pretty good. We mentioned earlier I read Robert Jordan books, and in The Wheel of Time, each different chapter is from a different character's point of view. And so there are a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
especially towards later in the series, there are a lot of strong women characters. And it's written, from what I understand, pretty well, but I'm also male and the author was male. So I don't know how true it is to female
Mm-hmm.
perspective. This perspective was pretty good. uh, like I said, I don't know how fully formed she is. I don't know any of that kind of stuff, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Did you feel, because it sounds like those, you read chapters in a female perspective. Did you, I mean, did it feel different to you to read a whole book just from a female perspective? Did you think about it at all? Was it like a,
No, I didn't. I didn't really think about like, oh, I'm reading this as if as if I were in her head. I didn't.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's probably something wrong with me.
Well,
Like
there's
that I
many
didn't
things wrong
that
with
I
you,
wasn't
right?
bothered. Yeah, you're right.
It's nothing to do with
But
you.
like I enjoyed it. You know, I
Yeah.
I have read, and I wasn't a huge fan. Pride and Prejudice,
Uh-huh.
and that
Sure.
I forgot to mention. We were talking earlier about romance novels and things like that. I think
Mhm.
having read that, because it was supposed to be one that I should read, and I
Right.
thoroughly did not like it. I think that might have swayed me more than I realized.
Uh-huh. Why didn't you like Pride and Prejudice?
I what is that? Victorian times? Is it Edwardian?
Regency.
What's that? Yeah,
Regency.
Regency. Okay.
Mhm.
I kind of don't like that period. I don't
Sure.
like prim and
Did
proper things.
mm.
I didn't like the fact that that character was being, I don't know, maybe groomed. I don't know, whatever. It seemed really
Right.
creepy to me. Just really
Uh-huh.
creepy, and
All right.
it just didn't work for me.
Sure. Did you watch Bridgerton?
No, I haven't. It's on the list to watch, but I also have children who pop up all over the place, and I know that that's one that's probably not.
It's boning.
Yeah, yeah,
Totally. So it's like a lot of it.
yeah.
So okay, Pride and Prejudice. So you think probably have you read a lot of classic novels?
Um, I've I've started to read a few of them. That
Mhm.
one I did make it through.
Well, it's pretty short.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. Also, I was excited for some boneheaded reason to read Pride and
And
Prejudice and
zombies.
Zombies, which
Sure.
was actually I didn't like at all. Like at least Pride and Prejudice had something. The other, I ditched it. I had even pre-ordered that because I was like, oh, I'm reading this.
I couldn't get into it
Yeah,
either.
it was dumb.
Well, all right. I'm sorry I didn't like Pride and Prejudice. It did start it did start the romance genre.
Yeah,
Most people do like it.
yeah,
But most dudes don't, and that's fine. It's a lot of talking, which frustrates a lot of guys. So I can see how that might be a problem. And then I saw a meme the other day about said Pride and Prejudice is just a bunch of people going places and talking, and I was like, yeah, that's what life is.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's everything.
it's like, what's your beef with that
Yeah,
then?
you nailed it. I don't understand what.
Yeah, I don't know. That might not be the exact meme, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, Pride and Prejudice. I never thought that he was grooming her. That's interesting. I mean, he certainly was a dick. I mean, there's that to be said. Or was he just shy? I don't know. That's
I
the
don't know.
age-old question.
I
You know what I
guess,
mean?
but I just feel, I don't know, terrible for especially women at that time, and
Yeah,
and so all of that enters into it, and so I don't know. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
sure. No, it's a terrible time for women. I mean, most times,
Yeah,
most times are terrible.
yeah. Still,
Maybe you should read. I think it's by Linda Burdall. but it's a like a porn version of Pride and Prejudice, and it is. I mean, it is. I think it's called. It's very popular, and it came out when I was like in high school, and then it kind of started this whole. I mean, there are like a million Pride and Prejudice retellings at this
Yeah.
point, right? And this one is the most porny that I've come across, and I just remember reading it as kind of like a young person. I mean, younger than I am now, of course. It's Mr. Darcy takes a wife, but you should try to read that. I mean, it is straight porn. It has one of the grossest scenes I have ever read, and I
And
have read
and
a
you think
lot
that
of
it's
stuff.
for me just because
I
I'm
do think
humping a couch currently and staring you in the eyes?
I do think it's for you. I think it's exactly for you.
Well, tell me this: is the main female character, is she being constantly persuaded and giving in like a really bad, creepy way, or is it like, you know what I mean?
No, she's into it.
Oh, okay, okay. Then I'm fine with it. I'll read it.
You think he's persuading her in Pride and Prejudice? I mean, like they barely talk to each other, really.
I know, but he
I,
knows what he's doing.
you think he is
Yeah.
okay? All right, all right,
I mean, maybe I took it wrong. I also didn't like the book, and that's part of why.
sure.
But I don't know. I don't know.
It's so funny.
I
I'm
just it
glad.
creeps me out.
No, I mean that's a good reason. I accept it. You should read if that's it. That's fairly like harmless. I would think. If you have you read or heard about Wuthering Heights?
Only the Kate Bush song. That's it.
Oh. But anyway, that book is fucked up.
Oh,
So is
really?
Jane Eyre.
Oh,
Yeah, they're all fucked.
okay.
They're all
I'm
fucked.
not.
All
I'm
right,
not reading that.
all right. The movie stars Tom Hardy, so you might want to, just.
Oh,
All right. Those are all of my questions. So, any final thoughts about the book that you want to share?
okay.
Any questions that you have about it? Or,
No, well, I don't want too many spoilers because I am planning on continuing it. Like I said, I already bought the second book and I started it as well.
why did you buy it? Why wouldn't you just get it from the library, Ryan?
Well, I like to support authors and
Sure.
stuff like
All
that.
right.
Like with all our music, I have Spotify, but I only use it for podcasts. I
Hmm.
try not to stream any free things like that. If I like an album, I'll buy it.
All right.
So
Good for you.
yeah, you know. But I love libraries too. I mean, I guess I should
Yeah.
partake of
Great.
it more so.
No, I mean, buy the book all you want. But I feel bad as I ask guys to read these books. I'm like, get it from the library because you don't want to have to keep buying. You know what I'm
Well, if
saying?
you
So
have me
that's why I
read
was.
a bad book, just say, "Hey, just rent this one. Don't buy it. This one's a bad one."
I would never give somebody something I thought was a bad one. I mean, maybe you.
Yeah, exactly. So you see where I'm coming from here.
Kidding.
No, it's fine.
All right. So, any other questions? So, yeah, what are your questions then?
Oh, as far as this book goes, all I want to say is ditch Nick.
Sure.
And I
He
guess
saved her from the demon, though. He's
did he
he's a
though?
librarian.
Did he though? There's something about this Nick character. Like for all I know, he could have like conjured the demon, or maybe he's I don't know how demons work in this world yet. Maybe he is like the physical manifestation of the demon. I don't know. I don't like him.
You know.
Yeah, don't like him.
How did you feel about the demon? Because the demon, a spoiler alert, is like a major character, and he's actually probably my favorite character in the whole series.
Oh, nice. The demon is very ominous. I like the fact that he's got something over her. I mean, I don't like that, but you know what I mean. Like it leaves something to perhaps resolve later on.
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot. She did a good job with a lot of those things, like her and Ivy. That's yet to be determined what's going to happen between them.
Yeah,
like her and Trent, and who knows? He's still out there. He's not caught. He just killed that guy from the security, whatever the human place is, the FIB.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of loose threads. The demon, Nick, who knows what he's up to?
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I was glad that I got to read this one.
Right. All right. No other questions? He is an elf. So you got it. You cracked the code.
Detective Sears is on the case.
A+ for context clues.
Thanks. I don't normally nail anything like that. This is like the very first time that I've actually picked up on something like that, so I'm very proud of myself.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
I would, but I'm actually quite nauseous. I'm by the way, I'm very sick at the moment.
Oh God, why are we doing this?
I don't, well, we said it would be now and we had to reschedule before, and I can, I feel I'm doing all right. I just, might
Not
throw up at
school.
any minute now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Please don't. I can't handle vomit. I really can't. All right. I'm going to speed through this then. All right. We've got one more game. Good night. So why would we do it's just a podcast. You can do it literally anytime.
Well,
Do you have COVID? Do you have COVID?
No.
Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. Let's finish this then. I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
I can't deal with it. All right. This last game is
Ralph
you're
or
gonna
not.
Guess.
I make a noise, and then you try to guess if it's me yakking or if it's just me like sipping on this coffee.
If you vomit, I also will vomit. I promise you.
That makes for
not,
excellent podcast.
Not a joke. Oh my God. Oh, to quote Adam Sandler, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday. All right. Okay, so for this game, you are going to guess. I'm going to read you two passages again. One is from a literary fiction novel. One is from a romance novel. You have to guess which one is which. All right.
Literary fiction or romance, right?
Yes, okay. Yes. Okay, first one. She'd told herself she wouldn't get involved, yet here she was. Typical of those who didn't know how to deal with their own problems. They poked around in other people's troubles so they could feel better about themselves. That's number one. Number two. I loved her against reason, against promise, against peace, against hope, against happiness, against all discouragement that could be.
Huh. Okay. By the way, during your reading of both of those, my wife is humping the chair for our benefit. She's trying to make me break up during this podcast and start laughing or yakking, whichever comes first.
Oh, God.
But she didn't realize that we had already discussed my humping furniture on the podcast, so I would not be dissuaded from bringing up the fact that she, I would not be dissuaded from bringing up the fact that she did just that in front of me. Okay, so I'm going to say that the second passage sounded more like a romance thing.
All right.
I, again, could be wrong or I could be right.
Yeah, that's how the game works.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 shot anyway.
Yes. You are wrong, Ryan. The first one was the romance novel, and the second one was the literary fiction. First one was The Great Escape by Susan Elizabeth Phillips, a giant romance novelist. She is major. And then the second one was Charles Dickens' Great Expectations.
Oh, dang. See, that's one that I started to read, but I gave up on.
No, fuck
yeah. Dickens sucks. Yeah. But I gave it the college try anyway.
Sure, right, exactly. No, he was. Yeah, I'm not into it. Sorry for all the Dickens fans. Don't like.
Yeah, no, Dickens fans can go fuck themselves. It's fine.
All right, that's him, not me. You said it, not. They're very nice. Everybody's nice.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're fine. No, you're not, and it's okay. You're just gonna. All right. So, last question. So, after this experience of reading this, will you read or watch more romance on your own?
Yeah, I think I will. That's a weird. Yeah. I never thought that I would be saying that, but yeah, I think I will. As long as I don't read the ones that Wuthering Heights and anything like. I'll have to pay real big attention to the goings on and how they treat characters. Maybe I should just stick to more contemporary romance and not delve back into the way back.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. All right, Ryan. Well, then, thank you again very much for doing this. It was a pleasure talking to you. And tell me that you love romance.
I love romance.
All right.